Good afternoon, kids. It is Friday, January 2026, second day of the new year. I just stepped on the elliptical in the barn. I thought I'd record you a video. I actually did earlier this morning. I did one at about 6 a.m. But I was on the road. It was pitch black. So I just tossed it. I deleted it. I was on the road at 6 a.m. this morning because I had a 7:30 appointment at the VA. VA is the Veterans Hospital in Minneapolis. So I had to drive 2 hours to get there. And had to wake up at 4:30, get in the truck by 5, to get up there by 7, to get my blood drawn at 7:15. And it's funny, I don't know about you guys, I am a baby when it comes to needles. I do not like needles. I do not like getting my blood drawn. Needles make me just feel nauseous, sick to my stomach. I get scared of them, nervous, start feeling kind of like, just my skin starts crawling. You ever get that feeling? Do not like them, whether it's shots or get your blood drawn. And so on the drive up, I was thinking about that the whole time. You know, part of that goes back to when I was in the military. The Special Forces group, they put me through something called Combat Lifesaver training. As a paralegal, they knew I was going to be no good to them when it came to, shooting bad guys. I was a pretty good shot for a paralegal, but I was the only paralegal they had. What I could do that they really liked is I could type. I was good on a computer. I could run and shoot pretty well for a guy who could also use a computer. So I was mostly in an office and giving them briefings, right? Talking to them about things like law of war, rules of engagement. Ask them about that stuff someday if you want to hear more. It's kind of boring, but basically, as the commander told me, my job was to keep them off the cover of Time magazine. Keep them from doing something that would get them in trouble. Get some bad media attention. So, anyhow, they figured, well, we better send this guy to Combat Lifesaver course. Combat Lifesaver course, CLS. And basically, it is how to be kind of not quite a full-blown medic, but it's like a crash course in medic stuff. Because they figured if things got bad, we want those guys, the Green Berets, we want them pulling the triggers. This Sergeant McNamee, he can run around with the medic bag and patch guys up. So I learned 3 big things in that course. It was like 6 days long, 6 days of classes. First one was it's called a tourniquet. Tourniquet is when, maybe you see it in the TV or movies, it's where you take like a bandana or a belt, a piece of rope, and if somebody has a wound to their leg or their arm, they'll tie it around to stop the bleeding, to cut off the blood flow. In the military, there's a couple of special things to it. One is we have a special tourniquet. It's basically like a fabric strap, and it had this special little crank on it, a little metal crank. So you put it around, say, a guy's leg, say a guy gets shot in the knee, or he gets shrapnel in his knee. You tie it around his thigh, between the wound and the heart, and then you'd strap it around, and then you'd turn this metallic crank, you'd crank it a handful of times, and that would tighten it so tight, that it would cut off the flow of blood all to his entire leg. Now the other part of that is he had to then write on his forehead a T with his own blood. Put a T in his tourniquet, so when a medic comes along and sees him, he'll know the guy's got a tourniquet. And you also put the time, because apparently for the surgeons, they really need to know how long that tourniquet's been on there. Because that'll tell them whether or not they just got to take that leg off, or whether or not they can save the leg. So we learned how to do that. Then we also learned how to do what's called a sucking chest wound, how to treat a sucking chest wound. Very common injury in the military, apparently, if they teach it to combat lifesavers. Let's say you get a bullet or shrapnel in the chest, right? Your lungs are your biggest organs by space. They take up the most space. They're kind of the biggest thing, most likely to get hit if you get a bullet wound or a shrapnel to the torso. And a sucking chest wound is when something punctures into that lung. What will happen typically is that it's called, say, a bullet hole, for example. That bullet hole will allow all the air to escape out of your lungs. Your lungs are kind of like balloons. They inflate and deflate. They inflate when you breathe in, and they deflate when you breathe out. Well, can you inflate a balloon that's got a hole in it? You can blow as hard as you want. That balloon with a hole in it ain't going to blow up because you're going to blow into it and that air is going to escape out that hole. So it causes a collapsed lung, and that can kill a guy pretty quick. So we learned how to treat a sucking chest wound, which is basically clear the area, put this little sticky dressing over it, and make sure it gets pressure. That'll help then reinflate the lung, still be able to breathe. Then the third one we did, why I hate needles, is applying what we call the saline lock. Saline, S-A-L-I-N-E, S-A-L-I-N-E, saline lock. And that's to give somebody a bag of fluid. Say they've been hit, wounded, they've lost a lot of blood. Whether they need a tourniquet, sucking chest wound, whatever it is, maybe it's just a standard field bandage. They've lost blood, they need a bag of fluid to restore their blood pressure. You basically find a vein, typically in the forearm, put a needle in, kind of tape down and secure that needle, so the needle's in the vein. Then you take a second needle, you attach it to that first needle. That second needle's got a bag of fluid. And then that bag will sit there and drip into them. So their blood vessels basically don't have too little blood to keep pumping. And the challenge there is a saline lock. We're talking about two needles. The first one, you stick it in, you kind of tape it down, special tape procedure, and then you got to attach a second needle to that first needle. Well, for us, we had a partner during that class. And at the time, you had to, after you practiced it on a dummy, learned how to do it, watched the instructors do it, you had to practice on your partner. So you had to take an actual needle, stick it in his vein, secure it, then hook up that bag. Instructor had to watch, and if you did it right, did everything according to procedure, boom, you pass. Well, a couple problems can happen. That first needle, when you go stick that in the vein, if you don't know how to do it, which none of us do, because that's what the class is for, is to teach us, you might stick it all the way through the vein. It's called piercing the vein. It doesn't feel no good. The other thing is you might stick it under the skin, but not get it into the vein. So then you're kind of fishing around under the skin with the needle trying to find the vein. That don't feel too good either. The other thing is you might stick it in, but then when you're trying to secure it, you might pull it back out. Or the fourth thing, once you've secured it, if you don't do the next procedure right, it's basically a needle into the skin that's going to start spurting out blood. Blood's going to start spraying out because you didn't attach that second needle the right way. So 4 things that can go wrong. I tested on my partner, first time, boom, got it. I'm good. Then my partner tested on me. Boom, he nailed it. I'll tell you guys at the time, this was about 2006 or 7. I was in the kind of shape you wouldn't recognize me. I had no body fat. So my veins in my arms were like popping out of my skin almost. So my partner had no problem finding a vein. It's big, bulging out of the skin, easy to find, stick the needle in. He tested out. So about 30 of us in the class, there's about 10 guys who messed up on their partner. One of those 4 problems I talked about, piercing the vein, fishing around, pulling it back out, not securing it right so the blood starts spraying out of that needle. They had done that on their partner. Well, their partners maybe didn't have as good of veins as me. So the instructor said, okay, Sergeant McNamee, get over here. And they would then take the guys who couldn't pass the first time. They say, so-and-so, get over here. You're going to use Sergeant McNamee's vein. So in total, I had about somewhere between 5 and 10 guys who stunk at doing this, taking turns, using my veins to stick the needle in. And boy, some of them, a couple of them passed the first time, but I was a human pincushion that entire afternoon. I got stuck probably 30 times in total by guys who couldn't do the process right because they were knuckleheads. And they would stick the needle all the way through my vein and down into the muscle, pierce it. Oh! I'd clench and go, oh! Oh, I want to punch you so bad right now. Or they'd stick it in, it wouldn't hit the vein, which was massive. I think only one or two of them couldn't, miss the vein. But they'd get it in, and then they'd actually pull it out. So you have to then stick it in again. Or they'd stick it in, and do that fourth thing I talked about, where they don't secure the second needle the right way. All of a sudden, my blood starts spraying out. Bloop, 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 with every heartbeat it's spurting out. I got stuck about 30 times that day by people who didn't know how to do it. And man, it got to the point where they finally said, no, Sergeant Mac's done. Because I guess I was getting pale. And they thought I was going to pass out and faint from it all. Ever since then, I've hated needles. I would almost rather die than get my blood drawn. I don't want to know the results. That's okay. I'll figure it out. But, so I was brave, did the next right thing, let him draw my blood this morning. Cool part is, at 8 o'clock when I was meeting with my primary care doctor, she gets also the results are on her computer. You check for like 30 different things nowadays. She said, your blood work's perfect. She showed me her screen, all like 20 or 30 things. My numbers were right where they're supposed to be in the healthy ranges. My cholesterol, my blood sugar, triglycerides, this, that, and the other, all these things I didn't even know what they were, but they're all healthy. She took my blood pressure, so they put that thing around your arm for like 30 seconds. That was in a healthy range. And she's basically looked at me, she's like, you're perfectly healthy. And I was like, yes. So exercise like this every day, not drinking any alcohol for over a year now, it has awesome health effects. Sorry this one was long, you guys, but I guess I ended up going down memory lane a little bit on Combat Lifesaver School. Hope you kids have a wonderful Friday. Starting back up with school soon. I start back up with work on Monday. But hope your 2026 is off to a great start. Love you guys so much. We'll talk soon.